Welcome to the Bougie Boardroom, where luxury meets leadership, mentoring for women ready for wealth, embodiment, strategy, and soul with sparkle. Today's episode, we are talking with entrepreneur Christi Green Warr, founder of Dirt Learning and Early Childhood Program. So we also just want to welcome you and say thank you for coming and being here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yay.
So we are going to just jump into some questions really quick. The first one being, tell us about your business. Tell us about you.
All right. So I am a Utah native farm girl, born and raised, and I'm currently raising the fifth generation on our family land. And through the years, my parents were farmers. My um, mom was an early childhood educator, so I knew I wanted to go into the early childhood field. And so as I was finishing out my degree in early childhood, I started my program in my home. I did that for 16 years. And then about 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, I stepped out and started to share how important play-based nature learning is. It's something I've always done and very, very passionate about. And I wanted to give kids back a childhood. So I came out of the closet to say I quit hiding because I hid for a long time because Utah is very academic based. And I knew deep down in my heart that that is not what is best for kids, that they embody things so much more when they're moving and learning. So I built a garage in my backyard after my dad sold the farm. So in my pasture, I built a garage and we spend the day outside learning and playing and being children.
Mm, mm. I love that. That is so good. So you actually naturally answered this question. So I'm going to feed off of what you just barely said. You wanted to give children back a childhood. Sorry, I cut out. You wanted to give children a childhood. So will you go more into depth on why you started your business with what you just said with childhood? Why that's so passionate to you?
Um, I have done my preschool and I hid for a long time and had small classes and I wanted to grow. And I was raising my young kids, my oldest son was struggling in school. And so I thought, I'll go back to the school system and get my special education degree. And as I got more into the school system and getting my teacher certificate, I realized they are not a one set, they're a box. And not
Mhm.
everybody fits into that box. And so as my kid was diagnosed on the autism spectrum, he learned differently. I learned differently. And so I embrace that not everybody learns the same way,
Mm,
but everybody can learn from each other. And so I became very passionate about it because I wanted to help those kids that sitting is not right for them.
mhm,
Okay, all kids, it's not right. But that's what people were doing with kids was making them sit to learn.
mm,
And by raising my kid, I realized that's not traditional and it's not for everybody. And so through that, there was a couple years I homeschooled my youngest daughter because the school wasn't right for her. And I made that decision because fighting my son through the school system, I was like, this shouldn't be a fight. Things can be different. I do things different in my program. So why
mhm,
can't they do things different? And so that's where I was like, okay, I am doing things different than
mhm,
traditional preschool. I don't want line workers. I want entrepreneurs. I want creative people. I don't want to stifle them. And so I was like, I'm doing this to support each child as an individual. And because of that, I have very, very diverse classrooms. A lot of kids, I don't know what typical is actually, because I have a lot of neurodiverse kids, a lot of diverse ability. Every child is a child in my program. And so we cater to the child, not to the standard or the test. So I don't know if that answers, but that is where I go.
Yes, and you actually said something that I want to repeat because I've never heard you say it in this particular way before, but you said it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Not everyone learns the same way, but everyone can learn from everyone.
mhm.
That was good.
And
Good.
Yeah.
and when you said that, I went, oh my gosh, this is whether you meant to or not, you are creating a very powerful movement with letting these children learn their identity instead of being told their identity.
Yes, that gives me chills. That is what I'm doing.
And how powerful is it for everyone, entrepreneur or employee, when we have the philosophy of not everyone learns the same way, but everyone can learn from everyone.
Mhm.
And when you instill that in a child, that wow, I'm learning something from you. Oh, and you're learning from them, and they're learning from you, and you're learning from the tree, and they're learning from the dog. And Christi is, I'm going to call her out here for just a second. She is severely underplaying just how amazing her program is. It's
Mhm.
called Dirt Learning because they play in the dirt. Every single day they're outside, they're playing with animals, they're using they're actually allowed to have the childhood of the 80s and 90s where we free
Mhm.
ranged, we built stuff, we tore stuff apart, we climbed trees, we played with animals outside, we got dirty. And it's when
Mhm.
she says I want children to be able to have a childhood, they did a study, NASA actually, it was a NASA study,
Yep.
and they actually learned that children register as genius level
Mhm.
until about fourth grade. And then that's when they really become so programmed, it has to be like this, that not only they lose their identity, but they actually start to lose their creative abilities. And the biggest thing, and this is why we wanted to bring different entrepreneurs on here and different businesswomen on here, is because there is something that I've noticed about all entrepreneur women. They have reconnected with their creativity.
Mhm.
And so this is something that you are teaching these children to stay connected to. And I just want to honor that and really just really highlight that that's not a little thing that you're doing. It's life altering, it's society altering, and that's really powerful.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, what have you felt like has been your biggest transformation as you've had this business? Because we're talking about the kids and what it can do for them, but what did this do for you as you played outside every day with these kids and you grew? You kept saying, "Oh, I came out of the closet and I stopped." And I was like, "Okay, everyone deserves to play. Everyone should be here. Everyone should be doing these things." But what did that do for you? Why was that powerful?
Because it gave me my voice back for one thing.
Mhm.
Um, we grow up in society and we're told to act a certain way, be a certain way. A lot of things I were told was to be quiet. And so it gave me my voice back. And so I can be loud with the kids. I can be loud about my program because I believe about it and it doesn't have to look a certain way. But I got my voice back to say, no, I believe that I learned differently and I am a little bit different because really there is no typical, but I got to be myself. I didn't have to perform a certain way. I had to overcome the professionalism because I did work for a federally funded program for the first 16 years.
Mm.
And so we had to dress a certain way. Now I dress to move. I dress to get dirty. And so some people would say, "Oh, you don't look very professional." No, I look very professional for my program because I can get down on the kids' level. I can bend over without feeling uncomfortable or showing my body inappropriately. But that also leads me to teaching kids to embrace their bodies. Like my whole part of my program is socialization and moving their bodies. So I don't shame kids as they're learning to potty train and learning skills.
Mhm.
Like, so I embrace my body, got over the perfectionism. Therefore, I teach the kids those same things. So I live by example with my kids. So they play, I play.
I think what's so powerful as you're talking, and every listener I know is going to connect to this. Every listener, including us, are thinking, well, we're adults and we're kind of feeling like maybe not maybe robbed of our childhood, but can we please go back there? And if you're not feeling that way, listen to what she's saying, because every one of us is like more creativity, less perfection, more fulfillment without the script. And I think that is so cool. So I have a question for you following what you just said. So your clients are the children, but this has to have an impact on the adults, I'm sure, on the parents that are bringing their babies to you. May I ask you what that does to the parents or what transformation you've seen in them?
It is so fun to see because it isn't just the kids, their family, and then the community. So we also bring the community in. But I
Mm,
have one parent who was in therapy for OCD
mm,
because she was very, very strict on how clean things were. And her therapist child actually came to my program. She's like, you need to go to Dirt Learning. And by sending her son here to get messy and dirty here, it eased her anxiety over it. And it
mm,
wasn't such a mess, but that child didn't pick up those traits that she didn't want her kid to have. She was struggling with them herself. That's why she was in therapy. So she knew kids needed to get messy, but she herself couldn't do it.
mm,
I will let your kids get messy. They will get shaving cream. They will swim in mud puddles. And then I will wash them off and I will send them home and I will put their bags in a clean spot for you. So it has helped parents with their anxiety and with their struggles. But I also am starting a parent support group.
mm,
So no child comes with a manual. But because of body mapping and because of learning about kids, we can help them to their best of our abilities. But you don't know what you don't know. So I want to work with the families and with families in the community to be that cheerleader, to embrace my loudness and be like, you know what? I support you. I hear you. I've been through that survival mode. Send your
mm,
kids to a parent night out where for 3 hours they play, eat, you take care of yourself, whether it be
mm,
reading a book, going on a date with your spouse, whatever you choose to do. I don't care because in those 3 hours, I am going to give your kids all of me in a safe environment with other people. So then it gives those families time to themselves because they trust us already.
mm,
I take this very, very seriously. When a child is in my program, they have my full trust because I can influence them good or bad, but I choose to build them up. So I want the parents to trust me. And so parents are like, well, my husband's deployed, or we have no family in the area, or they're sick of going to grandma's. They can come here and play, and the parents get that support. And then I'm starting some classes to help families understand their kids better, to understand what is developmentally appropriate, how to
mm,
help them work through managing emotions with their kids. Because as kids are individual and
mm,
kids are wholeheartedly themselves, when they want something, they want something and they don't understand why they can't have it or why it's not an instant gratification. So they have big emotions or
mm,
tantrums, and parents don't always know how the best to respond. I learned the hard way, so I want to share what I learned to help support families
mm,
to make this transition less survival and more thriving.
Mm, that is beautiful. That as you're talking and you are sharing your journey and you're sharing what this is doing, not just for the kids, but for the parents.
mm.
And I know, because how many years have you been doing this now? Almost 20,
No, 20, I started in 23, so 20, I'm starting 24.
24
This is my
years. Okay.
24th year. Yeah.
So, what
I
is
do
the
the math.
thing? Because we are huge supporters of collaboration and mentoring, and there's no such thing as competition.
Nope.
And even if someone came to Christi and said, hey, I want to do a business just like yours, it would be totally different because not everyone has access to the land that you have and the resources and the skill and the knowledge and everything like that. So, my question is in the spirit of collaboration,
Hmm.
if you could go back to when you started, what is the thing that you wish someone had told you and you had the capacity to be like, yes, that is the thing that would change my business. That is the thing that would do so that these young entrepreneurs or these new starting entrepreneurs, what's the thing that you wish you would have heard or someone would have told you that you need other women to know? Not just about your business, but just in general. What do they need to know?
To embrace their difference, to
Mm,
embrace what diverse abilities they have, what abilities they have make them different from others and to go with it. So I do a lot of collaboration with people. I'm actually hosting a national, well, yeah, a national speaker and collaborating networking this summer here at
Mhm.
Dirt Learning, as well as I've shared my program throughout the world in a global thing because I found that lady who told me, no, this is right. Embrace who you are. Um, I compared myself to forest schools because I wanted to embrace the nature. Well, we're flatlander farmers.
Mhm.
And so that part, I embraced it. I went with it. I called it dirt learning, not traditional, to just use the skills and talents you have. You can do it. And it is needed.
Mm,
True child-led play is needed. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean I printed things off from online and my kids are playfully engaged. No, the child chooses. Choice is a huge part of my program.
mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, that is so delicious. You know, it's really cool about having you on this podcast. First of all, I just want to acknowledge like how cool it is for mothers that aren't mothers yet, like myself. And there's probably so many listeners that are listening, whether they're mothers or they're not mothers, and the impact. As you're talking, I can't not see the impact
Mhm.
because it's one child, and that one child grows up to impact we don't even know the amount, right? So I'm curious, as you're talking, while you're thinking about the impact you have on these kids and their parents and just the joy in your heart when you talk, Christi, there is joy in your heart. You're
Mhm.
not talking about a business because you have to. You're not doing this because someone told you. Like you really do embrace the fact that you love this. You can tell there's love when you talk about it, which makes your business so magnetic, by the way. So I'm curious if you've thought about this, what do you want your legacy to be? Like when you leave this planet, what is the thing that you want to be remembered for, or just to keep it more simple, what do you want your legacy to be? If you were allowed to brag to us about all the things.
Well, it's kind of hard to think, but I want people to know that when they were with me, they did feel that love, that they felt nourished, that they felt supported in what they were doing. Because even I have elementary kids, kids that have graduated high school, still reach out and remember something from being in my program. And I want them to know that they were one, loved, and two, supported in who they were.
Mhm.
And they were found their abilities and weren't shamed for not acting like somebody expected them to. That they
Mm.
could be their true identity and be loved for it. And then that they go and continue to do that for others.
Mm. Absolutely.
How do you feel that you live your legacy already?
Mhm.
Because I see this in you. And do you
Mm.
see it in yourself?
I'm starting to see it in me, but it comes very natural for me. So sometimes it's hard to see, but I truly love and support those that come into contact with me.
Mhm.
Or if I don't care for them, we don't stay together long. Like that doesn't normally happen because I can love people for their differences. And
Mhm.
just because they do something different than I do doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that's their path. And I can respect that for them.
Mhm.
So just by honoring people as an individual, like I, I don't, there's a fair amount of non-judgment. You know, there's enough judgment to be safe, but there's some that I was like, no, that's their path, that's their journey. I get to live my life and I can still love them even if they do it different.
Mhm.
So I hope that
No,
that answers
I
the
see it.
question.
I see how, and so a little bit of background. I've known Christi for over a decade now,
Mhm.
and to watch you go through your own journey of embracing and stepping into your differentness
Mhm.
and letting go of my preschool has to look. I was actually there when you were transitioning from, okay, I'm working at this government based, it has to look like this, it has to be done these in this way, and the whole switch was when you embraced your differentness and you embraced your diversity and you went, this is no slander on the other program, but when you were able to say, hey, I can see the beauty in this other thing, and you embrace your differences, that is what made it so beautiful and so magical as you are teaching others to embrace theirs. And your own words, not everyone learns the same way, but everyone can learn from everyone. And I have learned a lot from you. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I want to, so do you have, if people want to get connected with Dirt Learning, what is the best way to do that? And we'll put it in the show notes as well.
Probably just reach out through dirtlearning.com on social media. Either dirtlearning.com is my website, but they can reach out on social media, and both my Facebook and Instagram is at Dirt Learning.
Okay. And what about parent classes? Do they have to have children already in your program? Are those parenting classes available to anyone and everyone? And where do they find that?
That is also at dirtlearning.com under events, and there's a parent tab there for parent resources. I'm actually hosting them in person, so it is nice to be in the community. With that being said, doesn't mean that I won't eventually do it on Zoom or won't have recordings of those classes that will still benefit people. But as of now, this first session will be starting in a couple weeks, and they'll be in person, and so you'll just register online. There is a small fee for it. I don't want it to be a financial burden for you to get the support you need, but I do want you to invest in yourself and choose to move forward. So that is also online at dirtlearning.com.
Beautiful.
May I also say one last thing as we're coming to the conclusion? So here's what's really cool. So you've known her for 10 years. I've known you not very long. It feels like a lifetime, but not very long, actually. You are such a leader and such an embodiment of your message without your message. Like, you really do own the fact that you're a life learner. And I love that your brand is like Dirt Learning, because that communicates to the world, at least the way I see you. Like, you really are someone who's going to get your hands in it and willing to learn. And you haven't said this, but it feels like you're almost communicating like we really can't fail. The only time we fail is when we don't try, or we're not, out there in the dirt doing all the things. And I just love that, because I want our audience, especially entrepreneurs, women, what people of all life, to realize, like, you really can have this playful aspect to your business and make money. And I think that's what's really cool too, because that's not what your focus is by any means, but I love that you're changing the world just by being you. So thank you for that. It literally is life-changing.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to wrap up this portion of our interview. And so we want to thank Christi, but for those of you who are part of the paid subscription, we are doing an after conversation, and we're actually going to be doing just a question and answer, doing some mentoring with Christi, letting her mentor us as well. How can we get deeper into play? And so you can find that as part of our paid subscription, part of our paid subscription. And we just want to thank Christi for coming on and being a part of this and being part of the Bougie Boardroom. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, guys. This was fun.